Yeah, here with Marazhai. I want to, before I look at them, I want to look around more here. And also want to get... that definitely looks like Navigator's powers. I want to get Heinrix, and I also want to look around in his lair. The thick walls of this container were clearly designed to hold something extremely dangerous. I'm afraid it might be Cassia in there. Yeah, well. Gosh, they just look like Iron Maidens. The Drukhari, was leaning over a body encased in a strange sarcophagus-like device, turns around. The Xenos face is covered by a mirrored mask, and he's holding tools of some kind. They more closely resemble the torturous implements than those of a Yrliet. A guttural hiss comes from behind the mask. "What do you want, Kettle?" And Edward examines the body inside the sarcophagus. It's Heinrix. You instantly recognize the man who is pinned with hooks and bonds to the numerous needles sticking out of the bowels of the device. Despite the deathly, pale, bloodless tone of his skin, Interrogator Heinrix on Kellogg's is still alive, judging by his weakly rising and falling chest and his frantically wandering, half-open eyes. His head is tightly encircled by a white, metallic band, blood seeping from underneath it. God. Oh Lord, oh Emperor, protect their souls. The Drukhari notices your interest and grabs his weapon. "Get out, cattle!" Were we just allowed to take Heinrix? "Step away from the contraception, and I shall let you live." Something in your voice gives the torturer pause, and he tilts his head. You cannot see his expression because of the mirrored mask, but a moment later, the Xenos hisses, hunches his shoulders, and scurries away. And we can free him. Oh boy. And things are buggy again. Okay. Can't we see Heinrix? The body inside the sarcophagus is not moving. Heinrix appears to have no awareness of his surroundings. His clouded gaze is directed past you. "Heinrix, it's Edward. Can you hear me?" Heinrix's head moves over ever so slightly. You get a good look at his eyes now. The pupils are constricted to the size of pinheads. He's blind. His bitten, bloody lips begin to move. "To the war with you, beast. I've heard all this before. You won't trick me again." And Edward touches Heinrich's cheek. "What have they done to you?" He flinches at your touches first, then, as if he can feel who is caressing his cheek, he gasps with relief. "Edward, is it you? You're alive." Struggling to turn his head, Heinrix presses his lips against your palm. "Please, find a way to get me out of this thing." And Edward releases Heinrix from the device. You cut the tubes, pull out the hooks and the needles, and free Heinrix from his bonds. He almost falls out of the Drukhari device, just managing to stay on his feet. I love being dogmatic during this segment. I wonder what the dogmatic choice is going to be. Heinrix takes a step on unsteady feet and stretches out his arm, which begins to tremble from exertion. His hands find your shoulder, lightly slice up to your neck, then to your cheek. "Edward." He falters, retracts his hand, and steps back. He gestures feebly at his eyes. "I can't see a thing. Give me a moment to ascertain what they have done to me." The air around him grows noticeably colder. "Blast it. Can't sense my body." Did they blind you?" "No, I don't think so. It is likely they're just my body reacting to extended bouts of pain." Heinrix chuckles bitterly. "To think that I've forgotten what it's like to experience such basic impulses. As a biomancer, I can stifle my physical reactions. Perhaps that is why I was chosen for this device. Perhaps I distanced myself from the sensation of pain, and because of my stubbornness that forbade me from surrendering. Poor Heinrix. Where's the hug option? What happened to you after we got captured? They moved me multiple times from one place to another, but what these places were, I cannot say. I saw spires in an ocean of mist, I saw the bowels of Drukhari ship, I almost broke free once. Few things frightened the Xenos as much as warp powers. It was close. Heinrix shakes his head. One might consider my words heretical, but I would say it was only due to the homunculus who brought me here that I survived after falling in that struggle. From there, it was just the place, the coffin, and pain. You cannot sense your body. What does that mean exactly? If I knew, I wouldn't be pondering the question right now, Edward. I think... He pauses, seemingly listening to something. The circlet on my head wasn't inhibiting my abilities. It was turning them inward, binding them inside my body. They made me torture myself with warp engines. I was burning and mutilating my internal organs. Damn Xenos. Yeah, everything this homunculus does just seems so uncomparable terrible to everything else that Drukhari do. Heinrix clenches his fist in fury and immediately winces from the pain. Can you walk? We do not have much time. I can move, yes. We'll take them. I feel like my warps have been turned, like my nerves have been turned inside out, and then soon back like that. For the time being, I will have to suffer pain whenever I take a step until I recuperate. Now that I'm free to use my powers again, it's entirely achievable. Poor Heinrix. Heinrix squints, struggling to see anything through his unfocused eyes. He finally rubs them and turns his gaze to Yrliet, standing behind you. Edward, am I hallucinating, or was the Xenos who consigned us to this nightmare back in your retinue? The interrogator's voice vibrates with incandescent rage. Yrliet did not want us to suffer this fate. Of course, this is why she sold us to her kinsman at the drop of a hat. Harry shakes his head, as if chastising away an excruciating dream. Enough. Nothing I will hear will reassure me. Heinrix blinks his feeble eyes and curses under his breath. I will require some time to recover. When the situation permits, I will find a quiet spot and concentrate on doing just that. Is he just staying here? Oh boy. Okay, I think we have to go back to the camp and talk to him.
I always keep my options open.
Cassia, we have to save you later, I'm sorry. Okay. Ah, there we have our friend Marazhai. Ulfar? And I can talk to you, interesting. Oh, you're Flesh Gorger, or whatever your name was, Marine. And you're quite big, and quite wide.
Not to see them cut down, but as alone, the Pasqal.
Okay. Singing softly under his breath, the man of enormous proportions is intently stripping raw meat from a bone with his teeth. His unwashed red hair is falling into his face, his beard is matted and blood-stained, and the aforementioned teeth look more like fangs than any human equivalent. I think you like Ulfar. Do you? I wonder why. I really do wonder why. Cause I liked Ulbrick? They look kinda similar. A less knowledgeable person might not recognize this giant humanoid, but you are well aware that this is a space marine, an angel of the Emperor. The scar tattoos on his body, which at first appeared abstract and primitive, together form the angular image of a wolf's mouth with bared fangs. This person must be the genetic offspring of Leman Russ, the space wolf of Fenris. Fenris! Fenris Yolda, Vlog.
Fenris Yolda, mortal.
You loud.
You know the old words. Good words. Strong as a rock. Sharp as the blade of a force axe. Deadly as a kraken's tooth.
That voice. The red-haired giant jaws stop their work. Emotions are hard to read on the crudely hewn face, but you think you have surprised it. The words are spoken in the guttural rasp of an invertebrate killer, wholly in keeping with the man's formidable appearance, but you did not expect him to slip into poetic epitaphs so readily.
What do you want?
Oh boy. And Edward studies the man. That sounds like formal word for checks him out. The huge body with straggly, overgrown red hair perfectly suits the deep, chilling voice of this man. Though I have to say, no body hair at all. Anyway. The huge body with straggly, overgrown red hair perfectly suits the deep, chilling voice of this man, or of this beast in the guise of a man. Travis scar-like tattoos cover his chest, arms and back, and you glimpse intricate braids in his mass of unwashed hair. His body bears so many pale scars that you cannot count them all, and muscle bulge beneath his skin like boulders. He looks like a statue carved from stone. It is clear that the captivity has sapped this prisoner of none of his physical power. Your assessment is confirmed when you spot the remains of a Drukhari in the pile of carrion at his feet, likely one of the homunculus servants. The Drukhari's flesh appears to be making fine snack for your new acquaintance. Yikes. Just snacking on his prisoners. Probably doesn't really grow hair considering what he went through to become a space marine. I mean, to become a space marine, aren't space marines just like cloned and engineered from the beginning, like from the get-go? And I mean, he has got a lot of head hair. Who are you?
I am a wolf.
At first glance, the man does not strike you as possessing great intellect. He's clearly more accustomed to mauling and killing than thinking, but you detect a certain shrewdness in his eyes. After looking you over, he says shortly, "So, how did you come to be here?"
My pack answered the Inquisition's call and came to the Koronus Expanse.
We were told about you.
There was a battle, and then...
Oh, you become an Astartes from childhood. Interesting.
The young wolves yearning to be meat for their brotherlings. To a feast of bolters they went out roving. Though they were but few, one long fang with them went loping. Not to see them cut down by scythes unclean. The pups he sent scattering, and there stood alone the paths guarding. For a foe he long spied, one worthy among unworthy. The song of swords singing, they clashed with clamor and skill, until stood the old wolf upon the bones. Then, by the birds of battle, was he brought down.
Anatomy of a space marine. It takes a considerable amount of time to transform a normal human into a space marine. They receive implants known as a gene seed, which transforms their bodies and gives them superhuman abilities, making them capable of spitting corrosive venom Yeah. Absorbing the memories of the dead by eating their flesh, darkening their skin to protect it from radiation, and operating for long periods without sleep by switching off parts of their brains at a time. Impressive? That sounds pretty horrible to achieve.
Was that clear enough? This saga sounds less interesting in prose.
So, why does the homunculus keep you in a cage?
For his own safety. When I am not busy killing inhuman spawn in the arena, the Xenos fear my will.
So, how do we get you out of there? Where's our lock-picking skill? We suffer the same fate. I was also captured by the Xenos, and then they have forced me to kill for their entertainment.
But I sit in a cage while you roam freely around their city. They do not fear you. Maybe there is a reason for that. Maybe our fates are not the same at all.
Somehow... I mean, the voice is modulated, of course. It seems familiar, but I'm thinking about who it is. It is not too different from Reinhardt from Overwatch, right? But I don't know if that's actually him. And Edward points to the piece of meat in his hand. Don't they feed you?
A predator does not eat only when it is hungry. There are many reasons to eat.
I can agree with that. Warrior looks at you in mild surprise. Then understanding brings a crooked grin to his face. So, does it taste good?
I cannot recommend it. The meat of these Xenos is steeped in corruption and frailty, as well as the foul substances they inject into their blood in vast quantities.
You must be planning to escape, yes?
And why do you want to know?
Didn't I already tell you I want to help you? Grinning, the warrior runs his fingers through his dirty hair, making himself look even wilder in the progress. I have no more questions. You? Chewing, he wipes blood from his mouth with the back of his hand. You know, a warrior such as you could prove useful to me.
To get what you want, you will have to convince two very headstrong individuals. Me and my captor. That claw-handed Xenos.
Okay, let's talk to the claw-handed Xenos. I think probably it will be quite hard. Master, allow me to take the space marine you keep in a cage. No. The homunculus snaps coldly and returns to his work. Noticing that you're still waiting for something, he hisses irritably, still not taking his eyes off the experiment. If you wish to continue wasting my time with your pathetic pleading and whining, specimen, then you know the price. Pay up or get out. Oh, we already have some samples? Nice. Phase 19 of creating an Astartes. The most distinctive implant, it resembles a film of black plastic that is implanted directly beneath the skin of the marine's torso in sheets. It hardens on the outside and sends invasive neural bundles into the marine's body. After the organ is matured, the recipient is then fitted with neurosensors and interface points cut into the carapace's surface. Ew. And Edward holds out a bag of samples. Of course, master. The Adventurous extracts a piece of flesh, examines it, fastidiously palpating and tearing off fragments, then places it in some sort of container. It will do. Ah! the buddy we skinned. Obedient specimen, so be it. You've earned a few minutes of my attention. The answer's still no. The particular monkey specimen has phenomenal parameters. I previously studied 2 other specimens of the same breed, but have yet to untangle their genetic secrets. He also performs well enough in the arena. I will not part with the last specimen. But I mean, surely the loss of some monkey could never impede the work of such a mind as great as yours. Perhaps the genetic subtype of all 3 specimen was defective, and this is the cause of my limited success. In that case, the loss of this specimen would not be significant. Now I know how to handle him. I recommend pain as a means of pacification, and you can take his armor. I found it entirely unintriguing. Adventure hands you a bone key. Neat.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Alright, good night, Marazhai. Was nice to have you here, and have a great week, and hopefully see you tomorrow, maybe. Come on, Ulfar, let's release you. The red-haired giant does not stop singing under his breath, and does not seem to notice you, intent as he is on his bloody repast. I need your help. The prisoner looks at you expectantly without stopping his chewing, but his expression shifts subtly, as if affected crudeness of mind and manner has been replaced by focus and cunning. Probably he's also quite dogmatic, right? I mean, he's in Astartes. We are both servants of the Emperor. We ought to help each other in this perilous place.
Do you serve the Emperor? Or are you a puppet with the hand of that Xenos butcher up your arse? How am I to know whose words you speak? Yours or his? How am I to know what plot you're trying to draw me into?
Don't you want to slay Xenos with me?
Why didn't you say that at the start?
Okay. Don't kill Yrliet.
What did you expect? Did you think you would waft the scent of slaughter under the bloodthirsty killer's nose, and it would rush off to do your bidding?
Why do you want to hear? The expression of dull savagery then changes to a mocking grin. I am planning an escape. Are you with me?
Why would I be? You are a stranger. How can I trust you? You could be an enemy. Worse, you could be an idiot.
Wow. How can you trust me less than just staying in your cage and like being the plaything of the Machinator? So, are you a coward then? Afraid to come out of your cage? Oh gosh, please don't kill us.
When I rip your insolent tongue out of your throat, do not ask why. This is why.
Flexing his muscles, the prisoner says in a sourly tone. Javentures gave you to me. Join my party.
Gave? Well, if he gave me to you, step into this cage and take me. You think a filthy blasphemous Xenos could do whatever he pleases with me?
Isn't he doing that already? I want to fray you, don't be so stubborn. A hostile glint appears in his eyes. His snarl reveals his long fangs, and you know that nothing good awaits you past those bars.
Come here, you wretch! You have hidden on the other side of those bars long enough! Come in here and repeat your filthy words so I can kick them back into your bloody, stinking muscle!
I hope I didn't just mess up the recruitment, but I couldn't say anything else. A wild, deranged expression comes over his face. In a harsh voice, he growls.
breathes out of me.
Meeps.
And from what I can smell, you did not soil yourself in the process.
Not entirely.
I respect those with courage. I can work with you.
Interesting. Wow, he was not that angry with me. What else did you say? Ah, were you able to pick the dogmatic one? That might have worked. I couldn't pick that one. Because otherwise it just tried everything. It worked. We got him.
It seems Tervantius is not as clever as he likes to appear if he's letting me out of the cage. The joke is on him. Good steel I have already. But if we are going hunting, I will need my wolf skin.
I mean, we just got it, right? He rolls his huge shoulders, and you hear joints crack loudly. He lifts his battle knife from the floor. Decorated with scarred runes, it seems to be his last surviving possession. Weighing it in his hand and wearing a skeptical frown, the wolf says,
What did you say your name was?
Throwing back his head, he lets out a blood-shedding howl, one that contains the deranged mirth of evil spirits dancing on an icy cliff. A predatory grin blooms on his face. Don't kill me. He's pretty huge. Ulfar is a space wolf, a mighty space marine. His proportions instill respect in his allies and fear in his foes, because Ulfar takes up 4 cells instead of 1. Certain mechanics may work differently on him. Ulfar does not use cover or conventional human armor and weapons. Ulfar's unique ability allows him, once per combat, instead of losing consciousness due to having his wounds reduced to 0, to become incapacitated for 2 rounds. When in the state, Ulfar cannot be targeted by attacks or suffer damage, and he also counts as full cover for his allies. Neat.
Yes.
Oh boy. What a hunk. We did get your... It doesn't even fit in here. Didn't we get your... Didn't we get his armor? Or we were told we can take it? So many connections here. Astartes Bolter. Let's go and look around. Soldier and Arc Militant. So going for versatility. Ah, power armor. There we have it.
Et fatter.
Collect all? I guess. Ah, here we have it. Wolfskin. Power. Neat. Even bigger. Cool. We get any nice Astartes bolt pistol, but that one is worse in every way. Less range, less max ammo, less damage, less armor penetration. Off you go. Astartes chainsword.
My instincts tell me to refuse.
Here we go. Neat.
I have a nose for profit and a taste for adventure.
Alright. I guess next thing we do is talking to our favorite Drukhari.